we explore our connections with the community. Typically, we invite two people for a conversation about a specific topic and to share their link with the community. We hope that through our conversation, you at home will be able to explore your connections with the topic, our guests, and our community. I have with me Jenn Hooker.
Hi.
And Jeanne O'Grady, both from the Scotts Valley Library. Welcome.
Thank you.
Jenn, why don't we start with having you explain a little bit about your background and how and why you started working for the Santa Cruz Public Library System.
Sure. Like you said, my name is Jenn Hooker. I came to Santa Cruz in 2008 to get my undergrad degree in film and digital media from the University of Santa Cruz. And then shortly afterwards, I got a job at the Santa Cruz Public Libraries as a library page, which is now library aide. I got my master's degree from San Jose State University in library science. And I started working as a librarian in 2015. And I've been doing that for about 2 years now. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to become a librarian because I liked I loved books as a kid growing up, of course. It's kind of a requirement. But I wanted to be a teacher when I was younger, and teachers had a really big impact on my life. And when I found out that a lot of the curriculum was state mandated and you didn't get much of a say in what you could teach, I didn't really like the idea of that. And I worked in a library as a teenager, and one thing led to another, and here I am.
Wonderful. Well, welcome. What about you, Jeanne?
Well, I've been a librarian for quite a bit longer. I've been in Santa Cruz since 1997, when Measure B passed. It was one of the tax measures that allowed the libraries to hire a bunch of employees, and I was one of them. And I came as the Youth Services Outreach Librarian, and I've done a lot of different things since then. But before that, I lived in Ohio, and I was a middle school librarian. So I've done a lot of work with youth, and most of my librarian experience is with youth of one age or another. So.
Also the young at heart, those who are a little older, very young at
heart.
Well,
yeah.
Well, welcome. And today we're going to talk about the STEAM program. And maybe you want to explain first what it stands for and how it came about and what you do and who is participating.
Well, STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, math, skipped art and math.
Yeah.
And it's been around for quite a while. We, as in schools and in libraries, we want to encourage all of the children and students to be comfortable in the world as art and science and math, technology expand.
Yeah, and they're making such broad strides in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math that they weren't getting a lot of that in schools, as far as I understand. So there was a big push, maybe, 5 to 10 years ago?
Probably 10 years ago.
To really focus on those aspects of the curriculum. And libraries sort of adopted that as a way to support schools.
Because you listen to the kids and the needs of society, and then you bring the two together.
Absolutely.
And so what do you do with the students?
I personally do a few different STEAM-based programs in the library. The one that comes to mind straight off the bat is Lego Club. And Lego Club, we meet twice a month at Scotts Valley Library. There's other Lego clubs in the area. And we build with Legos. We have thousands of Legos. And
big bins.
Yeah, and we have Lego Technic pieces, which are like gears and pulleys and turnies and all different kinds of things you would need to make pretty much anything out of plastic toys. And some of these kids, I mean, they're young, they're 6, 7, and they're brilliant builders with these toys. They're teaching me how to use the Legos, you know, they're giving me a lesson in they don't know it's physics, but they're talking about physics and structural integrity and all these things. And it's amazing to see that coming out of, you know, without the terminology, but coming out of such a young mind. So that's probably one of our most basic STEAM programs all across the county, is most libraries have their own version of a Lego club.
And another thing that I do a lot of programs with very young children, preschool and babies. And one of the things that I've started doing in my story times is including a nonfiction book in every story time. So, you know, it might be a book about animals, but that's science. It might, we're working our way through the alphabet, and I just found a book about the water cycle that I'm going to use when we get to W.
Cool.
And so that's science at a very early age, and just included in, and they don't even know they're getting science. But I do mention it for the parents so that they know and have that idea that you know, this is important. It's important to read to your children, but it's also important to what you read to your children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something as simple as instructing the kids at Lego Club or whatever, build a bridge. And then I'll take the heaviest books we can find and we'll stack them on the bridges that they make and say, okay, why was this bridge successful? Why did this bridge fall? You know, and we're learning about engineering without having the like very structured, rigorous curriculum of an engineering course. So even though they don't have a background in engineering, you know, they're not doing geometry and calculus, but they're getting a more practical, hands-on exposure to science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And we actually have a volunteer who runs a program at some of our libraries called RoboSumo, where they take Legos, and he guides them through all of this. They take Legos, they build robots, and then they learn the computer coding to run those robots. And the culmination of this program is each group has their robot that they have programmed, and they fight. You know, they have a little sumo ring, and they work on pushing each other out of the ring. And it's very cool to see, you know, this is not something that I would have accomplished when I was that age. So it's great to see how young children are really engaging with these different types of programs.
And so what age level does STEAM?
All ages.
All ages.
I mean, as I said, I do very, very basic things in preschool story times. The RoboSumo, well, the Legos is, you know, 5 to
we ask
7 or
but
8.
there's some younger kids that come. We have wooden blocks too for really young kids, so they can work on
building
that.
and construction.
Yeah.
And then the RoboSumo, I think,
it's a little older.
A little bit older.
8 to, you know, however old.
It's, but all the kids in Santa Cruz are wonderfully adept at these things. And they teach us.
Mm-hmm.
You really do.
Now, you sent me this picture of this slime program. Can you tell me about that? And maybe we can see that picture also.
This was a program that we did at...
Don't know.
Trying to think where they did this. Anyway, it was like a potions class, I think. And they made the slime together, and then it's so it's chemistry in action, doing something that you can build up and
something tangible,
and you know, take a cup of slime home with you and have our parents get upset with us because
it's something you can easily recreate at home as well.
That's right.
So we can give them a little card that has the ingredients for, you know, baking soda and whatever else they need, food dye. And they can take it home. And if the kids want to make more slime, they can make more slime. And a lot of the stuff, like the beauty of Legos is they're so accessible. I mean, they can be a bit pricey, but I can tell you most every single kid that comes to Lego Club has exposure to Legos in one way or another. So it's not something that's only accessible for them at the library. It's something they can easily take home and recreate on their own.
Right, and the things like the Robo Sumo, they're learning how very basic programming, but that helps with their computer literacy, and they in turn teach their friends and their parents and what they've learned, and so it's passing it on. It's educating, and at all levels.
Right.
Yeah.
And now, when I went to prepare for this, I went to the website, and maybe we can show that on TV also. Is the website the Steam the calendar?
Yes.
And you told me that if you go to the calendar, it would say for different libraries where.
Yes.
Where.
So if you go to our website and the calendar, you can change. You can check out, like if you want a program at a specific branch, you can put in that branch and STEAM programs.
Right.
Or if you want a program for a particular age level, you can also put in that, so that you can, we have so many programs. So if you go to the whole calendar, you have to scroll down, way down, and scrolling. However, we do have every month we put out a flyer that you can get at the branches that's about the special things that are happening in the library. If we're having a new program, or
a one-time only
program, or sometimes we have programs that are just once a month, and so we focus on those more often so that people remember about them.
Now, the other thing you mentioned, the computers. Now, I also saw on the website that you do quite a bit of work with both younger people, but also with older people. Teach classes, right?
We do have classes that, not at Scotts Valley right now, but we have a series of classes that you can come in, and if you're just a very beginner, how to set up a email account, or
basic internet browsing, or how to use Microsoft Suite, so you have Word and PowerPoint and all those things. And some of those classes will teach you how to use your own devices. If you get an iPad for Christmas, or your grandkid gave you an e-reader that you don't know how to use, we can schedule one-on-one appointments and teach you how to use those things.
Right. And so when you are doing these activities, whether it's the slime or the Lego or whatever, and so people want to look up things at your databases, because I understand you have quite an extensive database. So you bring them from beginners of not knowing anything, participating in fun activities, and then getting them to read books and to do the database exploration, so they can educate themselves further. Yeah. So that's quite a bit.
Exactly.
Now, you talked about a case. What's
we
that?
have at Scotts Valley, we have a program called CASE Art Club, and it's capital C, capital A, capital S, capital E. And that stands for Creative, Artistic, Scientific, and Expressive. And it came about, a young woman who is a junior at Scotts Valley High School wanted to do something at the library. And she remembered coming to art programs at the library when she was younger, and she thought she would like to reproduce that in some way. And so with our emphasis on science, I said, this is great, but everything you do, could you just put a little bit of explanation in about the science, and she ran with it. She's done her first program was on Zentangles, which are a design that you can make
Geometric designs. Yeah.
but everything is different. And she did it with snowflakes. The kids loved it, but she talked about snowflakes and how they're all different. Mm-hmm. All your Zentangles are different as well. And then last month she did a program helping children do portraits. And that was very interesting because if you look at artists, when you look at the face, the intention is when you draw, you sort of put the eyes way up at the top, and when you look at faces, their eyes are really at least a third of the way down the oval that you draw for the face. And the kids were like, "Really?" Man, some of them didn't want to do it that way anyway. But she was giving them ideas about how to draw portraits that actually look like people. And
so that brings me up because you said a woman came to the library. So that means that you invite people to come and do, STEAM programs with
we
you?
do.
Yeah.
If people are interested in doing a STEAM program, one shot or a series, we're very welcoming to that opportunity for them and for us. And we also have volunteers who they help with programming, but they also do a lot of other things in the library. We've had volunteers who just clean books. And you can imagine that if, hundreds of people are touching these books every day,
They need cleaning.
they need cleaning.
I never thought about that.
Our bookshelves need dusting.
Yeah.
I was with a program
You mean
the other
you
day.
don't want the science experiments on the books? But
Exactly. I had a bunch of librarians in the library a couple months ago for a meeting, and they hadn't seen our library, and they were walking around, and one of them is a school librarian who's quite a bit taller than I am. And she said, you really need to have the top shelves dusted. Well, I'd never seen the top of the shelves, so I didn't know, but I really appreciated that because,
Yeah.
so we have volunteers who will do that.
We'll do just about anything.
And
But
the
I-
other
yeah,
thing,
go ahead.
another thing that you can check out for younger children, we have called Let's Play kits. And they're a bag of books and manipulatives that you can take home and play with and learn about. One of our most popular ones is on birds, and it has instructions to making bird houses and things like that in it. And that is very, very popular. The other one that's very popular is trains.
Of course.
And these are for younger children, preschool and early elementary, but they deal with the science, and they're things that you can actually check out from the library and take home and use with your kids at home, or in your preschool, or your daycare, or your homeschool.
But I guess you're not checking out the Legos because...
We do not check out Legos.
They would never come back.
They would not come back. In fact, some of them, I think, go home in everybody's pocket
Yeah. Sorry.
every
It
time.
happens. I've had kids bring back a little brick. They're like, I took this home. I'm sorry.
So anything else about the STEAM program because, I'm learning a lot. I mean, I knew a little bit, and, the pictures, that I saw were really interesting.
Yeah.
Is there anything else about I think you had something else about the STEAM
I did. So we have a lot of different kinds of STEAM programs throughout Santa Cruz Public Libraries, which serves most of the county. Stuff for kids. There are things for adults. We have a program called Citizen Science that is wildly popular, and that's a monthly program that focuses on anything and everything that has to do with science, usually from a local aspect, but not always.
And outside speakers, often from the university,
Yeah.
but not always.
We've partnered with the university and the Museum of Natural History, I think, to bring these science programs together for the community. And upcoming, I'm actually very excited. We are opening our very first makerspace in the upcoming weeks. It will have everything from 3D printers, vinyl cutters, soldering tools. Yeah, lots of different types of things. It's for most ages. I'm not going to say all ages because there are some things that can be dangerous. But it's an opportunity for people to get hands-on experience with things that they may not normally have access to outside of that. Right. So one of the things we have an Oculus Rift, which is a virtual reality machine. And there's a program where you can sculpt in virtual reality. So you're standing in front of your art creation, and you're drawing and you're sculpting and you're creating, and you can take that file and you can send it to the 3D printer, and you can have an object that you sculpted, and you can take it home with you. Wow. It's very cool. It's very exciting. And we're also working on lendable telescopes because astronomy is very popular right now. And we want to make that accessible to people. So you can go to the library, you can check out a telescope and take it home for a week. And you can, you can look at the stars, and you can, see if you can identify the constellations. And those are things that not only are we building bridges with our community, but we're building community within families and within groups. So you have this family time. You can take home a telescope, and everyone can go around the telescope, and you can identify, oh yeah, that's Leo, or that's Sagittarius, or anything like that. Or you can see Mars tonight, and just different ways, because science is such a broad category, and just having different programs and different opportunities for the community to engage with those aspects of STEAM.
And starting very soon at the Live Oak Library, there's going to be a program about science. The Live Oak Library is located on Corcoran Lagoon.
Right.
So they're going to take advantage of that location and study the lagoon.
It's called Lagoon. I saw it on the
Corcoran Lagoon.
Lagoon Scientists.
The program is called Lagoon Scientists.
I think it's Lagoon Scientists.
Yeah. And so they'll be studying the animals that live in the lagoon, the water,
plant life,
testing the water quality and things like that. So it's very exciting.
Yeah.
So, do you see an increase in library activity as more books being taken out, DVDs, people coming in more to work on the computers based on all these programs that you're doing? You see an increase?
We see an increase in the number of people coming in and using the library, not necessarily in checking things out, but they can come in and they can use the library, they can use our computers, they can come to a program, they can do homework.
Yeah. And I think it's not even necessarily to focus on an increase or a decrease. It's more, it's shifting.
Yeah.
It's malleable, you can flow. So, we may have an increase one month in book circulation and a decrease the next month, but you also have an increase in programming. So everything is just kind of intertwined, and there's no one thing that we prioritize over everything else. And we're just trying to do the best that we can to serve the people in our communities.
And what their interests are.
Right. And then one of the things, of course, that you do is storytelling. The Cuenteme un Cuento in Live Oak. Let's talk a little bit about that program, and we have a couple of pictures of the I think it's in Live Oak.
It is. It started in 2011 with a volunteer, a woman who is
fantastic volunteer.
A fantastic volunteer, exactly. She is totally bilingual, although I believe she's a native Spanish speaker, and she wanted to do stories in Spanish. And so we said, yay! And she did that for 4 years, pretty much all on her own, and got a grant to buy books to give to the children who came to the story time. And in 2015, she continued, and then we have another Spanish-speaking staff member who has been doing the actual storytelling since then. But this has built a wonderful community of Spanish speakers and Spanish learners in that area. And they have at least 2 big events every year. They celebrate Day of the Child, and they celebrate Dia de los Muertos, with big parties that everybody's involved in. The whole greater community is invited to come, and they have food and stories and dance and a craft usually, and great fun.
Face painting,
and all sorts of fun things. And one of the nice things about this is one of the families that was early adopters. They have since moved to Portland, Oregon, but they still keep in touch with us.
Oh, that's nice.
And they come back occasionally. They have family here, and they come back occasionally, and they always come to the library, and they always tell me about the library that they go to in Oregon. Yep. So we're extending the community as well as taking care of their needs.
Yeah.
And so the Cuenteme and Cuento, is that for very young students? Or also
it's for families.
For families.
And we really don't limit the age for that program.
That's good to know.
The parents generally come. We have everything from babies up to 10 and 12-year-old kids.
Yeah.
And I bet you even the parents have a smile on their face.
Oh, they do. And they dance. And it's a very active program.
Yeah.
You don't sit still at Cuenteme and Cuento.
No. I'd say it's probably one of our most popular children's family programs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's every time I see pictures from it or attendance numbers from it, it's huge. And it's really serving the needs of a population that is generally underserved.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
So again, building community through the library. You're just right there, in the center of things.
We try.
And so we have about a minute left. Is there any particular, with the STEAM and the storytelling, any particular experience that you want to share with us?
Well, I shared about the family that moved away and comes back. I mean, that's just heartwarming.
What about you, Jenn?
It's hard. I think one of the things that I'm most excited about is being able to offer experiences to individuals who don't get it in schools, they don't get it at home, they don't get it anywhere else in the community.
Yeah. So. Good. Well, I want to thank you, Jeanne O'Grady and Jenn Hooker from Scotts Valley Public Library branch, and of course telling us a lot about all the other libraries. And I mean, if you at home haven't gone and visited your library recently, you should go. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.